Guys, welcome to this video. This is the second part to the Camberbolt installation because, as I said in the previous one, I divided it into two videos. In this one I'm talking about like measuring camber and what I did to set up toe and everything about that, and some info about some DIY suspension setup stuff and all the things I learned in the process of installing these bolts and informing myself about camber and toe and everything. So yeah, have fun.
I'm going to start, however, with a quick and easy way to check your camber on your own. As you can see, all you need is a string with a nut attached on the bottom so it hangs straight, taped to the rear wing. Because, as you can see on my beautiful drawing here, this is your tire and this is the string which hangs down, and you can just measure the bottom and the top. You can choose anywhere on the rim. I choose this spot right here behind this lip because I could easily find that on both sides and it's fairly even. So I have a pretty accurate measurement. This isn't super accurate, but you can get an idea of roughly how much camber you're running. And yeah, just measure from here to there. I used this ruler, just simply put it on there like that, and then you can measure your distance. And do the same thing on the bottom from here to there, and make sure the nut doesn't hit anywhere, so it really hangs freely, because if you hang it too low, then it will hang right here where it isn't really hanging straight, so watch out for that. But then you can just and also measure the distance between the 2 points you used, and then you can use this easy equation. I don't know if these are like German terms or if the term is the same in America or wherever you're watching this video, but you just subtract these two numbers, and then it's a simple triangle equation. You subtract these, then what's the English word for that? Insert it here. Yeah, follow this equation, and then you get your measurement. I now got, I already took my measurements, as you can see, 3.7 centimeters on the top, 2.4 on the bottom, and then 33 as the diameter from the points I measured from. And I came to 2.26 degrees, which I'm quite surprised about, because I gave my car to the alignment shop and they set everything all around to 1 degree. So yeah, I can't tell if this is accurate or if I messed up something with the equation, but I can measure it the same after I put in the bolts, so I can see at least the difference between the two numbers. And yeah, I would say let's jump right into it. The first thing is to take off the wheel, and yeah, then I will show you how to put the bolt in. Hey, that's the first time I'm trying out like a POV view of my car. I don't know, maybe I could do POV vlogs next time. And yeah, that's also for a upcoming project. If you're interested in that, would be happy if I could. Oh, perfect. I think I have to change my transmission fluid because sometimes the reverse won't go in, but yeah, that's for later. But that's a cool new project I'm doing, so stay tuned for that. So dang, that's sick, dude. Holy shit, that's quite some camber. I'm very curious to see how much. Right, we're going to put our string back down. Keep it from spinning. And wow, now it's sticking on my fingers. Perfect. Come on, please settle. What the fuck? All right. Now our calculations. New measurements. This third one will stay the same because, of course, the size of the wheel didn't change. But now we get... Wow. Wow, all right. 4 point... I would count that as... What would I count this as? 4.4. Of course, the pen won't write on wet paper. And the bottom one is at 2. Now the string is always sticking on everything. That's stupid. Oh, come on. Now we have to guess a little bit. Yeah, it's at 2, I would say. Oh, let's say 2.1. 2.1. All right, now we can take our phone and calculate our new camber. So let's go into the calculator, do this. Now we'll see, I will subtract the 4.4 minus 2.1 and then 33. Wow. Yeah. We are now nearly at 3.98 degrees of negative camber. That's quite a lot and quite a bit more than I was expecting, but you can take the difference between 3.98 minus 2.26. So yeah, that's pretty accurate because the manual said these bolts adjust 1.75 degrees of camber, so 1.72 with our estimated measurements. That's pretty spot on. So now the thing is, do I believe my oh, well, that's not right. My 2.25 degrees of negative camber from what I've measured from the stock setup before changing the bolts, or do I believe the alignment sheet? I will search for that and put it right here somewhere. You will see it now. And because they set it to 1 degree or roughly 1 degree all around, so 1 degree plus 1.75 or 1.7 would be slightly below 3 degrees, so 2.7. And I think 2.7 degrees with stock setup. I don't know how much I could get out of these stock adjustment things. I think they still have a little bit of adjustment in them, but yeah, I have no clue how to set up these. So I'm going to get a real alignment after I put in the front ones and tested it on the track if I can notice any difference. So yeah, we will see after that. They can set it up like they want to. And yeah, I would say that's everything for the install and a little bit nerdy stuff about yeah, do-it-yourself suspension setups. And I'm going to do the front also when I get the new bolts in. And for the front, I mean, I think you would have to do it for the rear too, because as you're changing the camber, it also changes other geometries of the tire or of the wheel. So you will have to what's the English word for it? Dang it, I put it in here again. Yeah, but you will have to mainly get a new alignment too. But you could also do that at home, but I don't want to in that weather. So maybe next week there will be better weather, but you can put a flat piece of, I don't know, maybe some wood here, and then take 2 tape measures and put them on the front and on the back. And with that you can measure your toe. Is it toe? Toe in or toe out? I think that's the word. You can measure your toe and set up your toe. But for that I recommend also using like something where the tire has a little bit of, how do I explain it? Like if you put 2 pieces of wood on top of each other with a little bit of oil between them, so they can slide around a bit, like they do in the alignment shop with real alignment setup. That will make the adjustment easier and everything. But yeah, I'm quite happy that these bolts worked. And alright guys, little addition. Because I was editing the video and remembered some things that I did different at the end. At first, I ordered these camber bolts for the whole car because there was only one size available. These were the 15 mil, but they only worked for the back. So if you want to get these, the same bolts that I have, you have to get the 15s for the rear and the 14s for the back. I think they were advertised for some Honda Civic Type R or something. They are 14s, they work in the front, and the 15s in the back. And the other thing is, of course, you get a ton of more toe in on the rear if you put these in, and a lot more toe out in the front, because in the rear the toe arm is in the back. So once you put that in, the camber bolts in the car, the tire will tilt in like that. But in the front, the steering linkage is in the front. So if you put it in, the wheel will tilt back like that. So you will get less toe in the front and more toe in the back. Toe in, I mean. So that's why you have to get an alignment. I was, however, didn't want to invest in a real alignment before I even tested the setup. Once I tested the setup, I want to get a real alignment. So together with a friend, he taught me a lot about all this setup stuff. We used the method that I described to you with the one bar across here, one on the other side, and then 2 tape measures left and right. With that you can at least measure total toe, but which is also interesting is left and right toe. So now I can say my total toe in the rear, I think, was 14 minutes, like 0 degrees, 14 minutes toe in. But I can't say if it's really perfect from right to left, if it's even, or if maybe this tire is in like that and the other one just slightly. So that's why real alignment is very useful in the end. But we adjusted that. I showed you these bolts before in there. With these you can adjust the toe. The toe adjustment is really sensitive, so you have to be really careful when turning that bolt behind there. But it worked. So I had over 1 degree, I think 1.5 degrees at least of toe in after I put the bolts in. So we readjusted that to 40 minutes and 0 degrees of toe in on the rear. And then the same thing was in the front, but now comes the part. I'm pretty sure that I drove around every single track day, and over a year now of street driving, I drove around with way over 1 degree of toe in the front, because I made an alignment but after putting the springs in, but after that I changed the end links in the front, and yeah, I didn't get in alignment after that, and then I just forgot about it. So because we noticed that with as I explained to you, when putting in the camber bolts, you should get more toe out. But I was still at 0 degrees and 30 minutes toe in the front. That means with all the more toe out that I got with putting the camber bolts in, I still have way too much toe in the front. So yeah, that explains everything, and that explains why my car was only understeering at the track, and why I had like a super weird driving feel. But yeah, that happens. I didn't know about that, but I learned it now. So we now left the front at 30 minutes toe in, because I wanted to try it out before I adjusted, because I was used to super much toe in, and I thought if we're messing with it now and adjust something wrong, it will just get worse. So we kept it at 30 minutes, and because at the track you might also be able to go down here, loosen the nut on the end link, and maybe turn the bar like an eighth of a turn, and yeah, you could be able to adjust that at the track if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to do one track day as is, and after that I'm going to get an alignment and adjust the front to maybe around 0 degrees and maybe 5 to 10 minutes of toe in. That's setup which many people run on the MRS. And yeah, wait a second, the train will pass, so we wait for that. Alright, no more noise, so I can continue explaining. Yeah, I'm going to try a track day and get an alignment after that. And an additional info, because you saw in the video that I measured like nearly 4 degrees of camber in the rear. This isn't true, because the surface where I measured isn't level. So, or at least in the front it was level, but for the rear it wasn't. Of course, what you measure left and right doesn't resemble the true camber, because once your car is like at an angle, the camber changes, at least with this suspension geometry. I think that's what I would say, the 1 degree that I had before from the alignment, plus the 1.72 that I measured as a difference, because the difference will still be the same, even if you're on an angled surface. But that means I think I'm about at something between the 3.9 that I measured on the one side and I think I measured 2.7 on the other or something. But that means I'm something between that, between like 2.9 and maybe 3.4 degrees of negative camber in the rear. I'm pretty curious to see, once I get in alignment, what the real camber is and also what the real toe in is, because as we measured 40 minutes in the back, I'm pretty curious to see how straight my car is, or if everything is crooked, but the steering wheel is still straight, so I'm fine with that. And yeah, in the front it was a little bit less camber, but I think that's what I was aiming for, because also many people that I asked are running more camber in the back than in the front, and I took the full range of the bolts in both front and rear. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. I also tested it and holy shit, I'm super impressed. I think also what played a huge role is the not absurd amount of toe in the front. So that made a huge difference, and I think it will again make a huge difference if I really adjust it to a reasonable amount of toe once I get the alignment. But yeah, I will test that after the track day, and yeah, I will see if I can get a better time, and I'm super curious to see what the alignment says afterwards. But yeah, I think that's everything. If you have any questions or comments, I know that was maybe a little bit confusing sometimes what I talked about, but this was really a process where I started, and in the process of putting these bolts in and doing the alignment, I really learned a lot about everything and a lot about how the suspension works or how all the adjustments work and how you really have to measure everything. Because I thought it was a little bit easier, but turns out it wasn't. So yeah, but we did this alignment on our own at first, and we'll see once I can get a real alignment, or when I can get a real alignment. So yeah, I would say thanks for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. I would be really happy if you might subscribe if you're new. I haven't asked for that in any video until now, so that's pretty weird. You can subscribe if you want, but you don't have to. So I'd be happy though, and yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, bye.